What is going on, guys? We're bringing you an Access Football video to tell you that Access Football, it looks like they will not be releasing a game in 2024. So, in other words, there is no Access Football 25. Okay, now this information is coming from accessleague.com, and I'm pretty sure that is at least one of their official channels of the, or I'm sorry, websites of the developers. At least I believe it is anyway. And I'm going to read some of the information on here. I'm not going to read all of it. It's pretty lengthy, but I'm going to read some of it. It starts off by saying, "Hi folks, in effort to better communicate our goals and development of Access Football, we plan to utilize these dev blog posts to share what's going on at Access Football Games. Access Football 24 is out on all major platforms: Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. And after a handful of patches and updates, we've reached a stable build. The current patch on Steam 3.5 and the same update should be published to all platforms. We will continue to monitor Access Football 24 and give updates as needed, but our main focus has shifted to the next version in our series. Since 2015, we have released Access Football games annually." Okay, so I'm going to stop there. So basically from 2015 to 2024, they have been making games every single year since then, which makes this the 9th consecutive title. Now I'm going to skip down and get straight to the point. You know, they get into a lot of information about how long it takes them to develop and test a game, and how much time they spend updating and patching the game. They get into a lot of information about that. But then later in the discussion, it eventually says, "Access Football in 2024 will instead take that time to overhaul several systems that need to be rebuilt from the ground up. The next version of Access Football will be Access Football 26, and it will release in August of 2025. Over the next few months, we will continue to update you on the progress, but I can share that we have plans to revamp many of the on-field animation movements and logic. We plan to add new play types like Pro and Complete Play Creator." So it looks like they're adding the ability to create plays. "And new play types like Pro and a Complete Play Creator." I just said that. I accidentally read the same thing twice. "Other features include new crowds in the stadiums, an overhauled menu system for the franchise dashboard, new franchise features, and much more. We would love to hear from you about this and chat with you about your ideas for the future of Access Football. Feel free to use us on the links below." And I'm going to share the link that I'm reading from in the description below. So basically, Access Football will not release until August of about 2025. So we have more than a year, before Access Football, the next Access Football game will even come out. Now, I do like this idea. I'm very glad they are doing this. I'm going to tell you why. Because after playing Access Football for several years, they've always improved the game a little bit. But I'm going to tell you this. Access Football 24 was probably my worst experience. When playing the franchise mode, the game was basically, I don't know what word to use. It was programmed or rigged to go a certain way. Every single game in the franchise was basically going down to the wire, and whenever I would score, the computer would score, and blah blah blah. I made videos talking about this. I'm not going to get too much into it, but I will tell you, Access 24, I must admit, was highly disappointing to me. It was actually the only year that I actually didn't like playing the game. Now, I know there were years where the game was ridiculously too easy. There were years when the game was, having a lot of crashes. The game has had its share of issues, but the fun factor has always been there, the enjoyability. But Um, Last year's game, yeah, Access Football 24 was absolutely not enjoyable at all. It was just a really terrible experience for me. I was undefeated in my franchise, but every game was predictable. It was like I could always predict when the opposing team was going to score. Basically, it was based on, whenever we scored, they would score, basically. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that anymore. I've already made videos talking about that, but I am very, very glad to see this, even though it means that there's going to be a year without it. I mean, we have Maximum Football coming out this year and couple other options. I was kind of hoping Sunday Rivals would come to console. I haven't heard if it was coming to PlayStation 4 or 5. It doesn't seem like it is, but it might be. I really don't know. But anyway, this is definitely a good thing because I don't think they would have been able to improve this enough to keep up with the competition. This year we have Maximum Football coming out. We have College Football, Madden. And I'm not saying they're competing with Madden or College Football because they're actually not. This is basically a smaller game, a cheaper game. It's not really like they're trying to beat Madden or anything like that. It's just kind of like a secondary option. And it's a good secondary option. I mean, it was always enjoyable to play, but Access Football 24 was a terrible experience for me personally. Just based on the way the games play out, the logic, the predictability was really bad. With the exception of this year, they've always been quite enjoyable to me. I mean, I've always liked playing them and stuff like that and creating teams and whatnot. But this is a very good idea, I think, on their part, even though it may not sound like good news for people who were looking forward to playing it this year. But it is actually very good news. They said they were rebuilding stuff. They were adding features. I don't think they could have built the game good enough with just coming from this year, from last year. Because like I said, Access Football 24 was bad. I mean, it was terrible. And it had better animations. It had better plays. It had better customization. But the way the games play out, the way the games were rigged to play out, the way they were the predictability, I was always able to predict when my opponent was going to score. And whenever they were going to score, there was no possible way to stop them. They were definitely going to score. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was terrible. But I do support this developer. I do look forward to keeping up with Access Football. And I was looking forward to this year before I knew this information. I was definitely going to still give it a shot, to see if they fixed, the issue that I had in this one. And that was really the only thing I really hated about the game. And, but it basically made the game completely unplayable for me. But I'm happy to see that they're rebuilding a lot of this game and they're giving themselves more time so they can make a really good, not just make a game that's a little bit better, but make a game that's much better. Make a game that's they can put their time, resources, and money into one solid football game instead of just taking the same game and just tweaking a couple of things and then releasing it again. Because that's basically, let's be honest, that's basically what they were doing. I mean, let's be completely honest here. And I'm not knocking that because most developers are doing that with sports titles anyway. In fact, almost all of them are. I mean, Madden or 2K, those are really, it's not really a different game. They're the same game. They're just tweaked and edited and features are added and features are taken out and stuff like that. But anyway, that's this video. What's your thoughts? Leave me your opinion. Are you glad about this? Do you even like Access Football? Do you play Access Football? But like I said, as Michigan is getting ready to break for another touchdown and beat Ohio State again, as they've been beating Ohio State for a few years now, and it looks like they're beating them here again. But anyway, Leave a comment, leave your opinion about what you think about the development, about them taking, I don't call it taking a year off, taking an extra year to develop a better product. What's your opinion on Access Football in general? Just leave a comment, anything you want to say.